Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take stacks of information, distill them down, and give you that shortcut to being, well, truly well-informed. We often think of sustainability as needing these huge, big steps, big changes. But what if some really powerful climate wins are kind of hiding? Hiding in plain sight, maybe? In the tools retailers use every single day. Today, we're diving deep into retail sustainability and specifically how your humble point of sale system, the POS, can actually be a surprisingly powerful engine for change. We've got a really interesting set of sources that unpack this, focusing on one system called ACCEO Smart Vendor. And before we really jump in, just a quick pronunciation thing for you listening. It's spelled A-C-C-E-S, but the way you actually say it is ACCEO. So think ACCEO Smart Vendor as we talk.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here looking at these sources is how they challenge that idea that sustainability in business has to be some massive, like, all-or-nothing moonshot. Instead, they really highlight how significant measurable changes can start right there, at the checkout counter, the most common touch point.
That really reframes things, doesn't it, looking at the checkout that way?
Right.
So beyond just the surprise factor, what are the actual benefits? Because it's not just about, being greenery. There's more to it.
Absolutely. What the sources show is that these changes, they don't just cut waste or paper use, which is great, obviously, but they also consistently seem to lead to better margins and even a better customer experience. It really positions the POS as this quiet climate win, almost like a hidden hero.
It's pretty incredible how a system that's mainly for, bringing up sales can ripple out like that. So, okay, let's unpack how this ACCEO Smart Vendor actually weaves these green practices into the everyday rhythm of retail. What the sources really highlight, and this is what I found interesting, is how it's not just about selling. It's about integrating green thinking right into the operations.
Right. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it means sustainability isn't like some separate project off to the side, or just a nice to have. It's actually woven into the fabric of daily transactions. And often it leads to real business benefits, better margins, happier customers. It's making the green choice the easy choice, maybe even the profitable one.
Okay, let's talk specifics. One of the biggest resource drains for retailers, and definitely a big part of their carbon footprint, is dealing with overstock and waste. The sources point out how this leads to what they call embodied carbon and disposal risk. Maybe quickly, what's embodied carbon for our listeners?
Yeah, good question. Embodied carbon is basically all the greenhouse gases that got emitted during the making of a product, the shipping, everything before it even gets to the shelf. And then, the disposal, too. So if a retailer overorders or stuff just doesn't sell, all that carbon embedded in those items, it effectively becomes waste. Which raises the question, how does a POS system, which you normally just think of for sales, how does it help manage that?
That's exactly what surprised me in the sources. How does it do that? It seems like a leap.
Well, it's actually pretty clever. The sources detail a few key ways. First, real-time inventory and multi-store visibility. It helps retailers, quote, right-size inventory, basically knowing exactly what's needed, where it's needed, and when. Crucial for not having excess stock just sitting around.
Okay, so just better information, fundamentally.
Exactly. And second, things like sell-through reports and slow mover reports, these are vital. They tell you precisely what's flying off the shelves and what's, gathering dust, helps prevent those end-of-season write-downs.
Right, the big sales where they're just trying to get rid of stuff, which often still ends up as waste.
Precisely. Then there's automatic stock ordering, often called EDI, electronic data interchange.
EDI, okay.
Think of it like a digital handshake between the retailer and their suppliers. It lets them send and receive orders, invoices, all that stuff digitally, paperlessly, cuts down errors, speeds things up. It's really paperless by design.
Wow, okay, so that's a big paper saver right there, too.
Huge. And finally, there's an add-on, the data collector. This lets staff do, quote, accurate cycle counts on the fly. They can just scan items, validate, update the inventory right in Smart Vendor, helps prevent shrink to waste.
Shrink to waste, meaning stuff lost to, like, damage or theft before it even sells.
Exactly. Or spoilage, stuff that becomes unsellable and just gets tossed.
So for you, the listener, and for retailers listening, what this all boils down to is less overbuying, fewer markdowns just to clear stock, and crucially, fewer things ending up in landfill. It seems like a genuine win-win. Planet and profit.
Definitely. A dual victory, as you say.
Okay, so cutting down physical waste, overstock, that's huge. But there's another culprit everywhere in retail. Paper, so much paper, receipts especially. And ACCEO Smart Vendor seems to have a neat solution here too. This is where it gets really interesting for that common pain point, right? The receipt paper mountain. ACCEO Smart Vendor offers a clear path to, as the sources say, ditch the paper trail.
Absolutely. The system supports digital receipts, emailed invoices. It lets businesses basically default to paperless checkout. And this isn't some complicated overhaul. It's often just a setting. But a setting with a big impact. Saves trees, saves time, saves storage.
And there's this smart little pro tip the sources mentioned too, pairing the paperless option with just a quick opt-in message right there on the pound pad. Apparently that can really boost the number of people choosing digital receipts.
Yeah, makes sense. Just making it super easy at the point of decision.
And for retailers, it sounds remarkably simple. Just, enable email or SMS receipts in the system, make that the default flow. Maybe a quick prompt from the cashier, done. Streamlined.
Very straightforward.
So, okay, we've got internal efficiencies, ditching paper, but how does a POS system actually get customers involved, get them excited about sustainability? This next bit shows how it can turn a standard loyalty program into, well, a green engine.
Yeah, this is clever and maybe a bit overlooked sometimes. By using the existing loyalty and gift features in ACCEO Smart Vendor, features retailers probably already have, they can create, quote, bonus point rules for eco-positive actions.
Like what, specifically?
Well, think about rewarding customers for bringing their own reusable bags, or maybe choosing local brands stocked in this store, or even returning, say, gently used items for some store credit, if that fits the business model.
Interesting. So using the sales boosting tools for green behavior.
Exactly. The infrastructure design for loyalty is already there. It's primed to reward sustainability, turns passive loyalty into like an active force for good.
And I found this fascinating quote in the sources. The mechanics already live in the POS, you're just tuning the rules. That makes it sound so much more achievable.
It really does lower the barrier.
You can set up these bonus point triggers for eco actions, maybe offer limited time green streak rewards for consistent behavior, even target special offers towards products with a lower environmental impact.
Right. And add-ons like digital signage or promotion management tools, they can replace printed posters, put messages about these green perks right on screens at the till.
Very integrated. Okay, so the next benefit tackles a kind of hidden environmental cost. Disconnected sales channels. We're talking about when the online store and the physical store systems don't talk to each other properly, leading to, as the sources put it, extra trucks and extra returns, which is a huge environmental drain, right?
Massive.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting here is how ACCEO Smart Vendor, especially when it's linked up with e-commerce platforms, they mention Shopify, WooCommerce,
Yeah.
via something called Octopus Bridge. How that link ensures availability, pricing, orders, everything is synced up in real time.
Okay, so what does that prevent?
It prevents customers ordering something online that's actually out of stock in the warehouse or store, which is super frustrating for everyone. So you get fewer, whoops, it's out of stock moments, as the sources say, fewer split shipments maybe, fewer unnecessary delivery miles traveled.
Right. So that real-time sync directly cuts down shipping mileage
Yeah.
and the business's carbon footprint.
Directly. It's an efficiency win that's absolutely an environmental win too. Fewer repicks in the warehouse, less packaging, and importantly, happier customers who actually get what they ordered.
Streamlining for business, streamlining for the planet. Makes sense.
It does.
Okay, finally, there's an impact that we might not even think about. The service model for the POS system itself. How does that connect to sustainability?
Yeah, it's a subtle one. Historically, if you needed a software update or a fix for your POS, it often meant a technician had to physically come out to your store.
Right, driving, travel time, emissions.
Exactly. More travel emissions. But the ACCEO Smart Vendor model, according to the sources, really prioritizes remote support. Remote training, regular software updates delivered remotely. This massively cuts down on the need for physical travel. It helps minimize on-site visits while keeping systems current.
And they even offer remote help after hours.
Yeah, which is another smart efficiency. Keeping things running without needing that immediate physical presence in many cases reduces the overall service footprint.
That's quite comprehensive. The sources even lay out a quick wins checklist for retailers who might already be using ACCEO Smart Vendor to kind of kickstart things.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, things like enable digital receipts, set paperless as the default, pretty easy. Switch on EDI for those automatic paper-free purchase orders we talked about. Use the data collector add-on to tighten up inventory counts, reduce that shrink to waste, add a green bonus rule in the loyalty program, maybe double points for reusable bags or buying local, and Connect your e-commerce through Octopus Bridge to keep stock levels accurate everywhere.
That checklist really hammers home the main point, doesn't it? That path to greener retail. It
Mhm.
isn't necessarily about some radical disruptive overhaul that feels impossible. It's more about a series of practical, integrated steps. Things retailers can often implement using the tools they might already have. It just lowers that barrier to making a real, impactful change.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean? Our deep dive today, looking through these sources, it really shows that becoming green isn't one giant leap.
No.
It's thousands of small, scalable steps. And many of them can be woven right into the existing fabric of the business, especially at the point of sale.
Which does raise an interesting question maybe for you to think about. How many other seemingly small, everyday business tools, perhaps in your own field, might hold similar untapped potential? Potential for significant positive impact, beyond just their main job. It's about looking at your existing toolkit with a fresh, maybe sustainability-focused perspective.
It's fascinating, isn't it? To realize how a tool like a POS system, something that literally touches every single transaction, can be leveraged like this, turned into a driver for sustainability. For retailers listening who might be keen to explore this further with ACCEO, the sources suggest reaching out to sales.retail@acceo.com. That's sales.retail@acceo.com. They can apparently help map these changes to specific store needs. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into sustainable retail and the surprising role of the POS. We really hope you discovered some important nuggets of knowledge today.